Everybody has different needs when it comes to these things. And then we can build up a plan of how you can save to get to that down payment. Now, the next thing is saving for your closing costs. So closing costs is always something that clients are it's very unknown to them. They don't know what's going to cost them. Everyone puts it in a general, very vague, you're going to need closing costs. What are closing costs? I'm not going to go over them right now because it's too much detail. But you can contact me directly, of course, and I will be happy to go over that stuff with you. But the closing costs are things like, just to give some examples, the attorney fees, the title fees, anything from your lender, your taxes. And again, these closing costs are going to vary based upon your loan amount and your sale price, because a lot of these fees, like the title fees, for instance, that's very much depends on what your purchase price is and your loan amount. So again, it's very specific to your needs. And I can go over all that stuff with you guys individually. Also, there was something else I wanted to say about those. Oh, I wanted to give you a general idea of the cost for the closing. So I know I told you that it varies depending on the price and the loan amount, but I would say if you want to put aside a cushion, you would put aside $10,000 to $20,000, and that would give you so that you would have more saved rather than less saved. More savings is always better than having less. So if you give yourself that nice chunk of $20,000 at the closing table, at least you know you're covered. So you have your down payment and your closing costs. Again, these numbers will vary depending on your loan and your sale price. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the your expenses. So people tend to overlook your moving expenses. So if you're moving from one house to another house, you're going to need movers. I don't, have a connection. I'm not promoting movers because I have a connection with them, but I do think it is definitely a great thing to do because it's very hard to do things in a timely fashion and in an organized fashion if you just invite all of your family and friends over to help you move in their cars. So you need to get a mover, and that is an expense. That can be a couple grand. That's something, I have resources too that I can connect you with to look into, but you have to consider that, factor that amount in there. And then if you're moving from, let's say, an apartment or maybe your parents' house or something that's smaller and you're moving into something that's a lot bigger, you're going to have to factor in the expenses for what you're going to need. So you're going to need furniture. You can't just move into an empty house. You might need, all the regular home supplies. Maybe you don't have that stuff. So you really have to calculate all of that stuff into the money that you're going to be needing to save. And that, again, is very individualized. So it's going to be specific to what your needs are and where you're going, whether you're going into a bigger house, maybe your family's growing as well. So you have to consider buying all the stuff you need for a kid or a dog or whatever it may be. The other thing, there was another thing I wanted to mention about moving cost. So some people, depending on your budget, so if, say you want a $400,000 house, but really you want a $500,000 house. So you have to get the $400,000 house, but it's a little bit dated and you need to do, the updating for that. Those are also expenses that you're going to have to factor in. So if you're settling for something that's going to be a little less because that fits your budget, you want to put $10,000 aside for the kitchen. Or you want to put, $20,000, $30,000 aside if you're doing a whole new addition. Or some people, not just because of their budget, but because they want to customize the home to fit their specific needs for their family. So they want to find a home that needs a little bit of TLC or that needs some fixing up. So you'll have to put money aside for that. Again, for the same reasons. If you want to update the kitchen or update whatever, you have to get a contractor to give you an estimate, which then, unless this is a point where you don't have the house yet. So it's hard to get an actual estimate, but you can throw out numbers. Like I said before, 10,000 for the kitchen, 20 to 30 for an addition. And those are very just estimated rounded off numbers. But like I said before, you want to make sure that you save more than enough money rather than not enough money. Now, since we're on the topic of finances, another very important topic, probably the most important step, is to see what you qualify for. Now, lots of people wait for this right before they start the home buying process, which is fine. It happens all the time, and that's usually how we go about doing this. But if you can, it's ideal to do this 6 months to a year before you're buying a home. You want to see what you qualify for. The sooner you get to the lender, the better. So an example of why you want to do this, we'll use the $400,000 example. So you qualify for a home that's $400,000. It's, January 2020, and that's the amount that you qualify for. But you really, you have a big family and you need a $500,000 house. So now that you've reached out to the lender and you haven't given them anything, but you've told them verbally, how much you make, what your debts are and all of that, they can analyze that and tell you what steps you need to take to get to that $500,000 loan. So maybe it's your credit. Maybe you need to build your credit. So now that lender that you spoke to about what you qualify for, they can maybe help set you up with a plan to get you to where your credit needs to be so that in 2021, you could buy that home that you want for the $500,000. Or maybe it's not the credit, maybe it's your debt to income ratio. So they'll tell you or help you figure out what you need to pay down or what debt you need to pay down and clear up so that you can afford to buy that $500,000 house. There are lots of things that can affect what you qualify for, but that's the point of reaching out to the lender early on so that he can help you set up a plan to get to that price point that you want to be at. And some people, they might see that they're overqualified or they're ready to go. But that's the point of doing this early so you can help get all those things out of the way. And so that you're ready again with the ammunition when you're putting in those offers, you have a solid, that you qualify for the loan that you are trying to get, or for your offer, I should say. And the next thing I wanted to talk about, which might be a little confusing at first, but I will explain, is the pre-approval letter. So this one is the other one I was talking about. So this is when you're preparing literally right before you're about to home search. So the other stuff is like maybe a little bit longer. You have 6 months out, a year out. So for the pre-approval letter, you want to get that like right before you start your search, because this is the one where the lender is actually going to collect all of your documents and run your credit, which you don't want them to do. Unless you're ready to start. So also the pre-approval and the qualifying, of course, this does not apply to you if you have, if you're a cash buyer, which there are some people who can't buy cash, and there are, sometimes it's investors as well. So this would not apply if you're buying cash, but if you're having a loan, you need to get a pre-approval letter. So like I said before, there is a difference between, I don't want you guys to get confused. There's a difference between qualifying, getting qualified and seeing what you qualify for, and getting an actual pre-approval letter. Now, a good realtor, like myself, will not let you search for homes without getting that pre-approval letter. Number one, if you go shopping without that pre-approval letter, you're giving your clients false hope, and they're giving themselves false hope on homes or, homes that they see that they like that they really can't afford. And number two is if they, do see a house that they like and they want to submit the offer, you can't submit the offer without the pre-approval. And if you know today's market, it is very fast paced. So if you see a house and you love it, you submit an offer that day. Otherwise, someone else is going to get it because there are probably 5 or 6 other offers in on that house. So you need to have the pre-approval ready. If you find that house without that letter, and you're like, oh, now I'll get pre-approved. It's too late. That house will be gone and another offer will be accepted. So the pre-approval letter is really, really important to have. And what is a pre-approval letter? Just for simple terms, it's a document that shows you how much mortgage you are able to borrow. It also will show you the maximum sale price, and the lender can also give you an idea of the maximum taxes with that loan amount and that sale price, so that you know exactly what you can afford and exactly what to look for in your home search. So just to clarify even more the difference between qualifying early on with a lender and then getting an actual pre-approval letter. So when you guys are house shopping, there's going to be you'll see a lot of ads and pop-ups for fill this out online, or call me real quick, I'll get you qualified in 5 minutes. So that's getting qualified when you verbally give them the information, or you just type it in online and you get it instantly like that. A pre-approval letter is when they request documents from you. So they want hard copies of your tax returns, hard copies of your pay stubs and your bank account. They're going to run your credit. So when they're asking for those things and then they build a report for you, basically that report is that letter that tells you exactly what you qualify for. That's your pre-approval letter, and it will say pre-approval letter on it. So a lot of times buyers get false hope from lenders because they'll give you what you qualify for when that's really not what you're pre-approved for. Qualifying, you're just giving them the information verbally. Pre-approval, you've given them hard copies of everything and they've been able to build their own report and get you that letter that says exactly what you are pre-approved for. So I know I went on about that a little bit, but that's very important in preparing for buying your home, because you need that to submit offers. Another very important step, obviously, is picking your realtor. So it'd be great if you chose me. And also all of these things, that I went over, if you want to go into them in more detail, shoot me a text, give me a phone call, and I'd be happy to explain them even more. The benefit of having a realtor, and I would choose your realtor before you even start the loan process and all of that, just for the simple fact that your realtor has resources. So, you can answer that ad that you popped up on your Instagram about a loan, or I can provide you with a list. I can't tell you who to choose legally, but I can provide you with a list of lenders that you can call and choose and find out which one has the best rate for you, which one has the best loan for you, again, so you can figure out what your deposit's going to be. Your down payment. And those are things that I can go over with you. I can help you I can help you by giving you information on which lenders provide which services and which one might be best for you. But again, that's something that we can talk about separately. You can call me or text me on that anytime. I'm always happy to help people meet their specific needs when buying a home. So there's going to be other times. When you will need resources along the way. And that's also a very important part why you need a solid realtor who's been in the business and has the connections and can provide you with lists to choose from. And again, I can be that person for you. Now, also, once you're working with me as your realtor, the next step in preparing for buying your home is preparing your search. So it's not as simple as people think, I just need a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's, and it's my job to help you dig deeper than that, because if we just do that, you're going to get tons of houses that just do not meet your specific needs. We have to sit together and figure out, do you need a master bedroom? Do you need 2 children's rooms? Do you need what we call a bonus room for your office because you're working from home? Or maybe you need a gym to use for that bonus room. Does your driveway need to fit 3 cars in it because you have 3 drivers? Or does your driveway need to be wider because you have a work van? And then you have, you need a shed in the back because you need to keep your tools in there. So these are things that we need to dig deeper about and really look and get specific search set up for you. And even if I do get you on an auto list for a search, which is something we can talk about even a year in advance so that you can see what's out there and what your options are, the auto list won't be as specific. But once I go through it and I know what your needs are, I can specifically know which ones you're going to want to see. So it's very helpful to be prepared in knowing exactly what you want and start thinking about these things. So once we get the physical details out of the way, and we're prepared and we know what you're looking for in that aspect, we have to start thinking about the location. And I've spoke about this in another segment. So if you guys want to hear more about that, you can watch that one, but I'll just get into it a little bit here. So you're going to have to think about the area, or what type of community you're trying to live in. And this is something else that, as your realtor, I can supply you with the resources for. Lots of people ask about schools, recreational activities, maybe the stores that are available. And some of these things I can't legally tell you, like if the schools are good or not, whatever, but I can provide you with resources that you can see for yourself. And also, beyond the resources that I give you, you can also, sometimes it's as simple as Googling. So you might want to Google the area and see what's in the area, see if it has, places that you enjoy. The internet makes it very easy for us to do research now. So you want to do your research to prepare for the location of your home. Also, something else that people used to do a lot of, I don't know if they do it nowadays, I haven't seen it, whatever, but you can simply drive through the town, drive through the town to see the atmosphere, drive through at different times of days to go see if there's school buses, if they take the kids to school, or if maybe you're into biking, if there's bikers in the area, see if it's a dog-friendly town, see if it's a quiet neighborhood at night, see if maybe it's a busy, like more a city area at night, maybe that's what you like. But even a simple thing like that will help you figure out what towns you like, and what fits your specific needs. And those are all things that I can help you with in preparing to pick what location you want to look in for your home. And the commute as well. So the commute, and people still do this all the time, go to that town and drive to work, go to work, drive back, go during the time that you have work. Because if you go on, a Sunday afternoon at 12 o'clock, the traffic is not going to be the same as it is at 6 p.m. on a Monday. So that's important too. You got to do the research because you're going to live there. And this is, like I mentioned, this is stuff that you can do 6 months to a year before, but it's also stuff that you can do a week or two before. So don't let that discourage you if you think that, I don't have enough time to do this research or save this money or whatever. Don't let that discourage you, because there's always a way. And if as your realtor, I'm going to help you find a way to get there so that we can get you into the home that meets your specific needs and your family's needs. So I want to put together a list. I want you guys to all write down this list. I'm going to number them just because I like to number things, but you don't have to do them in this order, just to break it down, because we went over a lot of things you need to do to prepare for buying your home. So 1 is saving for your down payment. 2, saving for your closing costs. 3, saving for your moving expenses. 4 is finding out how much of a loan you qualify for. Remember, that's the verbal qualification. 5, figuring out what steps to take to improve your qualifications if you need to. 6, getting a pre-approval letter. Remember, that's the one with all the hard documents that they actually run your credit. 7, choosing a realtor. 8, deciding the specifics of what you are looking for in a home. And 9, deciding on community and location for your home and the commute for your home. And then 10, I just threw this one in there right now. This one is talk to me, talk to your realtor. That's an important part in preparing for your home buying experience. You're going to have lots of questions, and I have lots of answers. And if I don't have the answers, I have lots of resources to provide you with so that we can get those answers. It's my job to help you prepare for the process and then get you through it. I hope this was helpful, and please tune in next week where we'll be discussing the 7 steps to the actual home buying process now that you guys have prepared for the home buying process.